Have you ever wondered about those dangerously remote islands where people dare not set foot? In today's video, I'll show you secluded places hidden in the middle of the sea that you wouldn't want to visit even as a joke. Ready for this peculiar journey? By the end of the video, you'll be impressed. Maybe even tempted to go? First of all, my name is Abby, and welcome to Trend Max, the most dangerous island in the world. Number 8. We begin with the first stop on our journey through the world's most dangerous islands with Ramy Island, which is under the authority of France. Although open to tourism, swimming and surfing are strictly prohibited on this Indian Ocean island. Why? Well, perhaps because the coast and surrounding waters of Ramy Island are infested with sharks. This place has been the scene of over 50 shark attacks between 1988 and 2016, such as the one involving Rodolphe Aragai in 2015. He was attacked by a shark while surfing, and although he survived, he lost an arm. But the figures worsen, as 11 shark encounters resulted in fatalities between 2011 and 2021. For instance, a man disappeared off the island's coast in 2019. His remains were found in the stomach of a shark, identified by the wedding ring on his hand. This island is marked by its history of tragic, violent, and frequent shark encounters, making it one of the most dangerous places in the world. This is just the beginning, and if you're into witches, the next island will leave you speechless. Number 7. Let's head to Europe for the 7th position, Poia Island, located in northern Italy. But beware, don't get too close, because visiting this island is illegal, both for locals and tourists. Poia Island, also known as the most haunted place in the world, has a very dark past. Since the time of the Roman Empire, this island was used to quarantine people suffering from the bubonic plague, leaving them to die there without further assistance. If that weren't enough, under Benito Mussolini's regime in the 1920s, a psychiatric hospital was established on the island, where atrocious experiments were conducted on patients. Although, since the hospital's closure in 1968, the island has remained uninhabited, it is said not to be completely devoid of life. Locals will tell you that it's plagued with ghosts and other malevolent entities.
You are dead. Yes, was that yes?
And how could it not be? During the Black Death epidemic in the Middle Ages, it's estimated that up to 160,000 patients were sent to Poia to die, only to be cremated later. All those deaths are still in the island's soil as dust. So forget about horror movies, because the ghost island does exist, and it's called Poia. Terrifying, isn't it? But don't worry, there's much more, and this island might make you reconsider your vacation plans. Number 6. In this 6th position, we're traveling to Asia, to Ramy Island, located off the coast of Myanmar, Burma. This island is famous for being the backdrop of several battles during World War II, but also for the saltwater crocodiles that inhabit its shores. Why is this so significant? Well, if you combine both elements, you'll have the perfect recipe for a true horror scene. The Japanese took control of this island in 1942, but in 1945, British and Indian forces launched an offensive to reclaim it. During the confrontation, many Japanese soldiers hid in the island's swamps, where they were devoured by crocodiles. Regardless of the firearms and military training they had, there was nothing these soldiers could do to avoid becoming dinner for these reptiles, weighing over 2,000 pounds. As if crocodiles weren't reason enough to steer clear of this island at all costs, it's also infected with venomous scorpions and mosquitoes carrying malaria. It's simply a little vacation hell. Keep this in mind on your next trip to the islands of Asia. Is heat your thing? Don't worry, the next island will make you feel like you're in a hellish paradise. Number 5. In the 5th position, we continue in Asia with this fiery island. It's called Miyakejima, and it's extremely volcanic. Located off the coast of Japan, it's a popular destination for swimmers, hikers, and birdwatchers. However, this island has a visible danger, and it's called Mount Oyama, as it's an active volcano emitting poisonous sulfuric gases. That's why residents and visitors must carry a gas mask with them at all times. However, even with precautions, an eruption in 2000 released so much gas that masks were not enough, and the entire island had to be evacuated. What a horror! Currently, the island has been inhabited again since 2005, and it has alarms that sound to warn people when they need to put on gas masks, which are sold everywhere. However, Mount Oyama remains a very imminent threat in terms of volcanic eruptions and toxic gas emissions. Can you imagine being a tourist there? If you're thinking about it, make sure to wear a mask. Be cautious. If you're healthy and planning to go to Europe, I'd strongly advise you to avoid the next island at all costs. Number 4. In the 4th position of the macabre tour, we're in Britain on Grard Island, located in Grard Bay, between Gairloch and Ullapool. This small oval-shaped island served as a laboratory for experiments with anthrax bacteria. Just imagine that! It all started during World War II because the British government wanted to create its own biological weapons. These involved placing anthrax spores in bombs, detonating them, and spreading the disease. While it worked wonders in experiments, it also resulted in deadly contamination. Many sheep became infected with anthrax and died, leading the government to quarantine the entire island. The worst part is that even though it was decontaminated in the 1980s, it remains uninhabited because there are still anthrax spores in the soil. That's why, to this day, Grard Island is also known as Anthrax Island. Terrifying, isn't it? If you live alone and don't like visitors, the next destination might be for you, or not. Number 3. If you like to be left alone, perhaps this island suits your preferences, doesn't it? Now, we're in the top 3, heading to a mysterious corner of the Bay of Bengal in India, North Sentinel Island. What makes this island special is that it is home to the Sentinelese, an indigenous group that has rejected contact with the outside world for over 60,000 years. Unbelievable! In fact, the Indian government has prohibited approaching within 3 miles of the island because the Sentinelese defend their territory with spears and arrows, with several fatal incidents in their history. For example, they killed 2 fishermen in 2006, or the case of John Allen Chow in 2018, who was killed for attempting to bring Christianity to the island. But it wasn't all fatalistic, as there was a friendly contact in 1991. However, it didn't last because attempts to provide assistance after the 2004 tsunami were met with aggression. Why did the Sentinelese aggressively reject external contact? Perhaps they had bad experiences with colonizers in the past. Despite this, one thing is clear. The Sentinelese want to remain undisturbed by the advancements of modernity, and it's best to wish them the best in their tropical paradise. What do you think? Don't forget to leave a comment. Now, a poisonous experience awaits. Number 2. Do you like Brazil? I do too. But would you see it as a country with dangerous islands? Perhaps not. But this second place will make you change your mind. Now, in South America, we find an island that can give you a deadly bite. I'm talking about Ilha da Queimada Grande in Brazil, also known as Snake Island. Its name is quite explicit, as it is home to around 4,000 golden lancehead vipers, which is one of the most deadly snakes on the planet. So, you're walking in a tropical paradise in the middle of Brazil, and suddenly, a bite from these snakes can send you to the other world, because their venom is fatal within hours if you don't receive proper treatment. That's why Brazil has banned all human presence on Ilha da Queimada, with rare exceptions, which must always be accompanied by medical personnel. By the way, did you know that in the 1910s, the island's lighthouse needed maintenance? But according to local legends, the last lighthouse keeper's family was fatally attacked by golden lancehead vipers? I think if you like danger, you should think twice before attempting to visit this island. What do you think? Stay tuned. because what's coming up will remind you of an event that happened in Ukraine several decades ago, but only that it occurred in a paradise. Can you imagine it? Number 1. We finish with the best for last. Imagine, you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, specifically in the Bikini Atoll. But don't be deceived by its charming name. This paradise in the Marshall Islands chain hides a dark nuclear past. During the 1940s and 1950s, the United States used Bikini Atoll as a nuclear testing site, displacing all its inhabitants and leaving this beautiful atoll desolate. Despite the Bikinians' attempt to return in the late 1960s, radiation affected their food and water, significantly harming their health. Consequently, today, most natives live off the island, leaving it inhabited only by scientists and caretakers who analyze and try to remedy its radioactive past. However, its surroundings remain an incredible place for diving and sport fishing. But beware, it must be done very carefully due to residual radiation, a place as beautiful as it is lethal. If you don't believe me, let the images speak for themselves. We conclude this journey through the world's most dangerous islands, which I personally would not visit. Each has its unique history and dangers, reminding us of the unpredictable and exciting nature of the Earth. Are you daring enough to visit any? Tell me in the comments, and if you enjoyed this tour, don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to the channel to not miss more amazing adventures. Until next time, explorers!